Hey, Weirdos. It's Thursday. You know what that means.
What does it mean?
We're here again. And I'm Chris, joined as always by
I'm Mackenzie.
And I'm Sarah.
Woo! And this podcast is for Weirdos. So, we're going to talk about ghost boxes in this episode. But I'm going to kind of give a history of EVP, which is electronic voice phenomena.
Neat.
Which I have a definition that I pulled up. Odd or unexplainable things that are caught on electronic mediums that are interpreted often as spirit voices. So, what do y'all know about ghost boxes?
I know we use them in our semi-professional ghost hunting that we do.
Uh-huh.
Semi-professional is the perfect word because one of the three of us has been paid for it. Well, no, you got paid for yours.
I got paid.
At the ghost.
I'm the only one that
I'm
I'm the semi in this semi-professional.
Okay, but Sarah paid you $1.
I did give you $1. I paid all of you $1, so that way we would all be
Professionals.
Okay, so we're professionals.
We're
professionals.
I'm semi-professional. I paid you $1.
You did. I've also seen it prior to getting further into being an actual paranormal investigator. You know, saw it in ghost hunting TV shows. We've seen it used by our favorite paranormal content creators, the Newkirks. And then obviously we use it. But that's kind of my background with it. Was mostly my introduction was through paranormal television.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Mine's from paranormal television. I mean, we're not going to mention the bad show here, but the bad show is definitely like where I first saw.
Well, that's the show that I was raised. Like that
Right,
that was my
which
introduction
again,
show.
Here's the thing. You know what? We're just going to name it. Ghost Adventures is a fine show to be an introduction into ghost hunting. I just don't think that it's a show that people should like hang their hats on of like what good paranormal research looks like.
You know, it's fun.
It's very fun. It's very silly. It's very goofy.
It's very fun paranormal television. It is not necessarily
and
good.
So that's definitely, I think, where my introduction to the Spirit Box comes from is from that show specifically, because on my preferred ghost show growing up, they didn't use spirit boxes at all. I liked Ghost Hunters.
Uh-huh.
And like in the old episodes of Ghost Hunters, they didn't use those. Like when I was watching it in the like 2002s, they weren't using them at that point. They do now. On the more recent seasons, they definitely have used it. And like in even the later seasons of that era, they started using it. But when I remember watching it, that parallel to Ghost Adventures. Ghost Adventures is where I was introduced to the Spirit Box. Uh-huh. And, you know, it's a thing that makes a lot of noise. And until I watched Hellier, I didn't really have a way that I thought I could be okay with using them because they're so loud and so annoying.
And there's so much confirmation bias that happens with them.
Right. And so I was like, I don't know how much I trust this piece of technology.
Yeah.
I also wasn't a serious paranormal investigator in any regard until the past couple of years. So thankfully I was exposed to other stuff first where I'm like, oh, we can use this in more of a critical way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think my basic knowledge is that of like seeing it on TV and then playing with one in our investigations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Investigation. We've done one, the three of us.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's my kind of exposure to it.
Okay. Yeah. For that's generally what my exposure has been. But I've done a bunch of research.
Oh my God.
On like the history of tracking kind of like EVP research in quotation marks. There is a lot of critique of EVPs, like we have said, like through pareidolia. What the fuck is that word?
That's a word I've never heard before.
I have. That's basically how you say it. It's pareidolia.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I just found it in my notes. Which is it's the tendency. It's like seeing a face where there isn't a face.
Okay.
It's the human tendency to find patterns where there aren't.
Got it.
necessarily
I got it. Yes.
patterns.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's one of the big overarching critiques of like EVPs in general is the human mind fighting patterns that might not necessarily be there. And so we're gonna kind of start with a bit of a timeline.
Ooh.
In a later episode, I'm going to have a more robust timeline of spirit communication overall because
cool.
I went I went down so many rabbit holes, y'all.
Yeah.
And there were too many rabbit holes to chase. We're doing a little foray into specifically Spirit Box and Spirit Box history and the overarching history of EVP, because Spirit Boxes are slotted under electronic voice phenomenon.
That makes sense.
Because it's an electronic little box that scans through, generally speaking, AM radio channels very, very quickly. And so
Right.
it creates like a white noise of all of the different channels. Yeah. Good job. Good job, gang.
We did it.
We know what
You're
it sounds
welcome.
like.
We definitely have a spirit box in the room we could have just turned on,
Yeah.
but instead we went.
Oh, it's the same noise.
Do you want me to? Okay, I now have the spirit box in my lap for if we want to turn it on, so
Yeah.
I can get it set up for you because I have a complicated one.
For background.
Mm-hmm.
In 1941, American photographer Attila von Zille began making attempts to capture ghost voices in addition to ghost photographs.
In what year?
1941.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
longer ago than I expected.
Yeah, so he's kind of the first person to be pushing this like electronic voice phenomena.
Narrative.
Narrative idea. Nobody's really done it beforehand.
Yeah.
He was unsuccessful for quite a while.
That makes sense.
He started with like a 78 RPM record,
Right. Yeah.
trying to record that way,
Mm-hmm.
and wasn't really successful until 1956, whenever he used reel-to-tape recording. So it's a
Okay.
different type of recorder.
Yeah. So he couldn't record straight to a vinyl, like a record, but
Yeah.
he could do it on a reel-to-reel recorder.
Yeah.
Okay. Neat.
And so
That's so interesting.
I love technology.
it's
I want to know why. Do
I
you know why?
I don't know why.
Ah, damn. That would be cool.
It would be cool. There are a few other things in this era. So that was 1941, whenever he started doing these kind of experiments to try and capture voice phenomenon. And so 1952, so before he started gaining success with reel-to-reel recording, some Roman Catholic scientists at the University of Milano in Italy encountered voices of unknown origin on a steel wire type recorded piece of music.
That's
So-
wild.
Yeah, so they encountered just these odd voices in the background of a music recording that they couldn't identify. There was nobody else in the room.
That's
There was not a reason that these voices should have been there. And so it was some sort of phenomenon that they were hearing voices in this recording.
That's wild.
And then a couple years later in 1959, so after Attila started
He started having success. Right.
similar unknown voices were observed by Raymond Bayless, and he eventually published those findings in the Journal of the American Society for Cyclical Research. Cyclical research.
Yeah.
And I do have these three odd things that he captured on his recording.
You have the recording of
I
it?
don't have the recording of it. I
Oh.
have typed out
Oh, you have
Transcript.
a transcript.
a transcript.
Okay, I was like,
of-
oh my god, we can hear it?
No,
That's okay.
I would love to be able to find them, but they're old recordings.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They probably would not have any kind of quality left in them anyway, even if
No.
we could find them.
Right.
Not something that we could do anything with.
So
So sad.
there were three that I was able to find in transcripts.
Okay.
The first one is, "This is G."
Hi, G.
Yeah. Hot dog art.
Hot
dog art.
And so the last one is, "Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all."
Oh, that's kind of
That's
sweet.
sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of sweet.
It's
It
also
does
September.
not beat a hot dog art.
Hot dog
Hot
art. Is it
dog art.
hot space dog, comma, art?
Correct.
Great.
Capital H, capital D, baby.
Hot dog art.
And so also in 1959, Friedrich Jurgensen, which is
Great name.
it's a name that comes up in other places
What a
in
dude.
parapsychology.
Oh, cool.
And so as we go through this podcast, his name will probably come up more and more
Right.
often. But he also unintentionally captured unknown voices.
Oh.
So he was recording birdsong,
Mm-hmm.
and
As you do.
as you do, sometimes you're just a scientist out there recording birdsong in your yard. But he ended up capturing what he interpreted as his dead father's voice, in addition to his dead wife's voice calling his name.
That's devastating.
Yeah, real devastating.
Dad and wife going,
Ugh.
honey, what's his name?
Friedrich.
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 Freddie.
Friedrich.
Freddie's son. It's me, your father.
Papa.
Papa. That's what his dad sounds like.
Yeah. And so being able to like find those phenomena made him feel compelled to do more and more recordings.
Right.
And he eventually also caught what he believes to be his mom.
Oh no! Also saying his name?
All it said was a message from his deceased mother. So left a little bit vague, probably something personal.
Ugh.
Freddie, I love you, Mama.
Freddie, make sure you wipe your butt.
Freddie, you left the stove on. Mama.
And so then we have a couple more things that are come after that
Yeah.
in
The timeline.
in the timeline about 70s. This next one I think is about 70s. I couldn't find any solid dates for these,
Got it.
unfortunately. We have the Raudive voices.
Ooh.
Raudive is the name of the man who
Found these.
found these voices. So he's a Latvian psychologist from Uppsala University in Sweden.
Okay.
He worked in conjunction with Jurgensen
Mm-hmm.
and made over 100,000 recordings in which he described communications with discarnate people.
That's a lot of recordings.
100,000?
100,000.
That's like that's a
That's a
lot.
lot. That's a dedication.
It's a lot of dedication. So these recordings were made in different environments. Some were in like very, very controlled spaces. Some were in very not controlled spaces. And so there's a lot of diversity in the quality and types of recordings
Oh, that's kind of cool.
to try to figure out what kinds of things could potentially influence
Getting
these
these phenomena.
discarnate
These discarnate
voices. But they're lumped into Raudive voices. And so then we move on to the Spiricom, which is getting closer to what we know as a spirit box
Okay.
or a ghost box.
Yeah.
So William O'Neill constructed these electronic audio devices that he dubbed the Spiricom or Spiricom. There's no T in there. Based on
Spiricoms.
instructions that he received from George Muller, who was another parapsychologist at
Yeah.
the time. Who had,
That's a name that I know.
yeah, and so he produced the first Spiricom 6 years after George Muller died.
Okay.
But those plans came from George Muller in person, like physical plans.
Okay.
And so
So it's not like he was channeling George after he died, and George taught him how to make a spirit box. He was like, "Hey, I'm alive still. It's me, George. Make this."
correct,
Got
yes.
it.
And then he just
That
didn't get around to
That
it.
is an important distinction in this community of like, hang on, was this guy channeling somebody, or did this like actually physically a man told him to do this?
Yeah, George Muller, the man alive in his body, said, "Here are some papers on an idea that I have, and you should make it." And then, so 6 years after George died,
He got around to it.
he finally got around to it. This is the first time that we're kind of seeing a two-way conversation between the operator and discarnate voices.
So everything before this was just a recorded voice that just kind
like
of
an
happened.
like an
Right.
an unknown, unintentional recorded voice.
Right, it was just
Yeah.
not a
on recording.
conversation.
It wasn't like a, oh, hi, what's your name? And then they're like, Jeremy. Like, it just,
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is the point where it
Oh,
moves from like how we have like the little recorder and we take it and we like
yeah, like
we'll
the tape recorder, like a
little
digital
tape
recorder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it moves from that to closer to the spirit box where you can actively have a two-way conversation.
Got it.
Interesting.
And so this is, I think, about 90s, 80s to 90s.
Okay.
Some major criticisms with the Spiricom
Mhm.
are that it has not been very repeatable. So the
Ah.
plans that George Muller wrote
Mhm.
have been publicized. People have made their own and have not been able to repeat the process with similar success. And so, George Meek, another parapsychologist,
Mhm.
has attributed William O'Neill's success to his own psychic ability.
Okay. So it's
That's
more
fair.
like
Okay.
this guy has latent psychic ability that's making it where he can talk to ghosts, not necessarily the box that he made
not
work
that the-
super
Kind
well.
of, yeah.
Not that the machine or his ability helps the machine work the way it's supposed to.
Yes.
Not that the
Okay.
machine can do the work on its own.
Yeah, the
it.
machine might not be able to make it the full
way.
and that little bit of psychic ability helps to bridge the last bit of that gap.
Got it.
I think that lines up with like our kind of group belief around spirit boxes that
Right.
I think that I can make the generalization that we kind of believe that use of spirit boxes does rely somewhat on psychic ability and being able to
I-
parse through information.
I think I think I agree with another Greg Newkirk. Everybody has latent psychic ability.
Yeah.
I think I agree that if you're more in touch with your latent psychic ability, spirit boxes are easier to use. Like you and Sarah are a lot. Not that it has not been effective for me, but because you've spent more time working with them, you are better at it than I am. Like it's easier for you to hear and retrieve information or whatever out of them versus it's a lot harder on me. Like I can't be under for as long as you guys can and all of those things. Like I struggle a lot more with it. But yeah, it may be that because you're a little more open to everything in some ways, it's easier for you versus I'm still opening my latent psychic ability up.
Yeah.
And I'd agree with that. We've talked about it before that we think of it as like it's channeling with a tool is what we've kind of called it when we've had this conversation before. Is like you're not just sitting there and trying to channel an entity through your body. It's like you're using this literally with the antenna of that is how you're going to communicate through me, the voice box for you whenever we do our specific version of Ghost Box. So I could see that like, yeah, you do need to have a little bit of that in tuneness with whatever psychic ability you may have.
But with that, I think that's another reason people struggle with them so much is we use a very specific method for them.
Right.
Versus I think popularity wise, it's usually just done
sit in the middle
of the room and let it run. And so I think a lot of people are like, well, of course you're hearing what you want to hear. It's just you're asking it questions and you're then hearing, of course you're hearing the responses that you want out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it is all in how you use the tool when you're doing this kind of channeling because it does work. Like it's clear that the once it gets to the stage we're at now, it does work.
Yeah.
So,
but William O'Neill did appear on Ghost Hunters.
What?
Oh my God,
with
when?
the spirit.
What
I
episode?
I don't know what
God
episode.
damn.
I can do some more digging.
I'll dig right
You
now.
can
during
dig
the
right
episode.
now. One of my sources said that he was on one of the episodes with his spirit comm.
Okay.
So I don't know. You go ahead and look for that information. And so moving on from that, we have
carry on.
the Frank's box.
I love a Frank's box.
Frank's boxes
Oh
are
my
so
gosh.
cool.
Frank's boxes scare me.
They are a little unnerving, but there's the thought process behind them is just so.
Yeah,
Ugh.
they're unnerving. They're made by Frank Sumption, and he made it very intentionally to be real-time communication with the dead. It is the closest approximation of a ghost box or a spirit box. It sweeps through AM radio frequencies very, very quickly. Frank's boxes are often more complicated and also tend to be clearer, it seems, and at least in my observations of people using them, because we don't have one.
No,
I would love
we
to
don't.
have. I would love to
they're
have one.
expensive.
They're expensive.
And there's not that many of them.
I think he intended to make about 200 of them.
Mhm.
Left in knowledge today, I think there are 79 left, if I remember my numbers right. There are a lot of yes.
I do believe I found. I don't have the exact episode, but the article that I just found says that it's in the reboot seasons, so it's the more recent seasons.
Okay.
That they had. They don't have the original Spiricom. They have a reproduction Spiricom, and they do have him on the show, but it's not like one of the original ones. It's it's a newer version of it.
That's
but
so
it's
cool.
in the reboot seasons, which were in like 2018, 2019. I wanna
Okay,
say.
that's
so fairly
fun.
recently.
Fairly recently.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of critiques of the Frank's box, including it's subjective, which
Yeah.
I think all paranormal investigation tools are, though. I think that's an inherent bias to the paranormal investigation world.
Yeah. And then incapability of being replicated. So like even if we that is one thing with the Frank's boxes. You can download Frank's plans and make your own Frank's box.
Oh, cool.
But the ones that are made not by Frank have less success than Frank's boxes.
But that could also, going back to that latent psychic ability,
What did he
if
put in?
what did he
Juju
put
did he put in those
in?
boxes?
He's putting love in.
Oh, it's
He
here's
does.
a
He
sprinkle
the
of
last
love.
step that he didn't put on the instructions is
Give it a little
Little
kiss.
gotta
kiss.
give a little smooch
A little smooch.
with Frank's mouth.
Yeah. Frank's
None of
mouth.
us
Mwah.
No one else has Frank's mouth,
Nope.
so it won't work as good. Even if you smooch your box when you're done, it's not going to be the same.
It's not going to be the same. And then again, the pareidolia. So the two typical ways that people use spirit boxes nowadays are just normal spirit box sessions where you turn the spirit box on, you set it in the middle of the room, and you ask questions. Option number 2 is the one that we use the most, which is the Estes method, which
Right.
was coined by and created by the paranormal investigation team of the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, which is famously where Stephen King came up with the idea for The Shining. But a fantastically haunted hotel.
Yeah.
Many, many lovely, lovely ghosts. Connor and Carl of Team Hellier
Yeah.
worked as paranormal investigators at the Stanley. And they have a YouTube series called The Spirits of the Stanley.
It's fantastic.
It's
Please watch it.
fantastic. And you can watch essentially in real time
Them
as
develop this.
them develop this method that ends up being called the Estes method. They don't call it the Estes method in this series because they had not yet named it.
Right.
But it's fascinating to sit and watch them create these experiments, which is essentially doing like is it a double blind or is it just blind?
No, it's a double blind.
It is a double blind because you can't hear the question,
And you
the
can't
question
see.
askers can't hear the answers.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can't read lips or anything like that because you're both blindfolded and headphoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a double blind way of using a spirit box where one person is wearing noise canceling headphones that connect into the spirit box, so only the one person can hear the white noise of the spirit box, and that person interprets whatever it is that they're hearing. And the people who are not, we use the word under, almost like under a trance, because
or
it
hypnosis. Or
Yeah.
it does kind of put you in like a trance
You're
state.
very-
You're a meditative
Mhm.
state.
Yeah.
Sitting and listening. And so the folks who are not under can't hear, and so they are asking questions, and it provides a very quick response time between questions and answers.
It's also interesting because I think it helps. So for those of you that have never seen it done or heard of it being done, if you're asking questions and the person that is hearing the responses, all you do is speak out loud whatever you're hearing from the box. So whatever it is you're able to pick out from the rapid fire radio waves, you just say out loud. So sometimes, if you're like when I'm under, I'm hearing Charlie or don't touch that, but I don't know anything that's being asked. So what I'm saying could match up with the questions or could have nothing to do with what's going on. And so I think it's a really good way also to see that it's not 100% accurate all the time, but it does help eliminate some of that bias.
Yeah. So it's a fantastically interesting way of using this tool. So I want to go and I would like to do a couple sessions.
Great.
So number 1, we're going to just do a spirit box session.
Okay.
So we're just going to turn the spirit box on, put it on a frequency, make it fast.
Okay.
Disclaimer, this is not, we didn't know we were doing this prior. There is no script involved.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on.
We don't-
So, like before anyone comes through and is like, "You guys are making that happen." First of all, if you're that kind of skeptic, stop listening to this podcast. Just kidding. You
Or
can
no,
still
listen more.
Listen
more.
more and learn. But no, we're not. We have not done anything. We'll post pictures of the spirit box.
We'll take some video.
The specific spirit box that we have is the P-SB11
The commonly used ones, if you watch paranormal television, is SB7 and SB11.
and SB11.
Those are the two that are most commonly used.
mine has 2 channels on it because it's the SB11. So I'm
Yeah.
turning it on just one channel. I'm going to turn it on.
Most of them also can go forward or backwards. We usually scan backwards. It helps prevent, again, that bias.
It's really loud.
Lovely.
So sometimes what you're going to hear as it's being played out loud, you do hear occasionally, if you're listening scanning forward, you'll hear DJ clips or ad bits or whatever. So that's part of learning the process, is learning to differentiate what you're hearing that is just noise and what you're hearing that may be important to the conversation that you're having.
Yeah, so my idea is anything that is more than one flicker of a radio station
Yeah.
is a phenomena. There is
Yeah.
something odd going on.
Or if you're hearing the same voice consistently, and you can tell the difference. You learn to tell the difference.
So yeah,
Are you sweeping forward or backwards?
Backwards. So I'm going to do this. We're sweeping backwards through AM radio stations. The one thing that is interesting about this specific spirit box is it does have 2 different channels, and you can have both of them going at the same time, and one can be going through AM and one can be going through FM. So that's like the most random version possible, right?
Uh-huh.
Because it has as much random static. You're not just picking up DJ voices, you're not picking up songs, you're picking up kind of everything.
yeah.
But right now we're just sweeping backwards through AM frequencies at like a medium-ish speed.
Yeah, you can sweep fast, you can sweep slow.
And this is what that horribly sounds like. Headphone users beware.
I wonder what it'll sound like on.
Yeah, let us know if you hear something.
Hello, is anybody with us?
So hopefully, if you heard anything,
Let us
please
know.
comment on our social
Yeah.
media or send us an email. We didn't really pick. Did you guys pick anything up?
It's so hard. Because we are so often in the Estes method,
I
it's
clicked it off.
it's really hard. It's a lot harder when it's
Sounds
played out loud to even understand what
Right.
could be said.
Yeah.
So you have to be, I think if you're doing an out loud sweep like this, you either have to have it turned up really loud
Mm-hmm.
or you need to be in a space where not where there's bias, but you might know who's going to be there. So if you're investigating somewhere that you know the history of,
Right.
and you know who you're asking for,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's easier. Not because
Yeah.
there's the confirmation bias, but because you know what
you're
you
listening
might
for.
be listening for.
And I think the other thing is, one, I did not have this turned up very loud because I did not want to blow out our microphone or our listeners'
It can get
ears.
so loud.
That's like the quietest setting that this thing has. It has very, very loud, and that
Yeah.
was very, very quiet because I didn't want it to be too loud. But I think one thing with the psychic stuff that's really interesting is when you're doing it like that, where you're just listening, there's not a headphone where there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
There's so much other shit that you can be focusing on
Yeah.
that it does make it harder for you to like really listen in and kind of get in tune with that sound. Like it doesn't put you in a trance because it's more uncomfortable when it's just in the air.
It's
Yeah.
very, I would say unnerving almost. Like it's very like, it makes you anxious in a way.
kinda
Like it's
it's
it's very yucky feeling. Like there's always, you're like, I don't know what's to put, I don't know. You
Yeah.
know, there's a lot of that.
Because
Yeah.
it, at least to me, even though it's the same speed, it feels faster without the headphones on.
I'd
I
agree
feel
with
like
that.
once I have been wearing the headphones and like whenever I'm in the headphones and like listening and I get into that kind of trance like state and like I'm listening, it feels less fast.
No, I agree.
Or
I'd agree
it
with
feels
that.
like I have sped up to match.
It feels less frantic.
Yes. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I think out loud spirit box, and especially if you watch paranormal television, it even in that, like even being completely removed from the situation, out loud spirit box has always given me a heightened anxiety level.
Yeah. It's loud. It's a weird noise, and they're all like in TV. They're always yelling over it.
Yeah, there's a lot
you
of
can
it's just
hear. And instead of like what I was doing whenever we were talking was I flipped the speaker over and pressed it into like the fatty part of my leg on a blanket to try and get it to muffle as much as I could. Whereas on TV, they like maybe will cover it with their hand.
Maybe if you're lucky.
And so I would say like the way the Estes method when we're using it, it makes for a lot more. And I think for the spirits, like people that are responding to it as well, I think the out loud spirit box can be very disconcerting for a spirit.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more.
If it makes us uncomfortable, it probably makes them uncomfortable.
Probably makes them uncomfortable.
I just like
if we're operating under the assumption that they're just dead people.
Yeah, I feel like it would make them very uncomfortable, and
I feel like it would be very much the same way of like if you're on a call like on Discord with your friends and somebody has their speakers going and it like starts echoing and you can hear your own voice.
Oh yeah.
I bet it's
what
like
just
that.
happened.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Where we
and
said
so
the exact same
it's
thing.
probably got to be just as uncomfortable for
Yeah,
spirits.
I think the Estes method provides a lot more of a conversationalist setting. I think for both the investigators and I think for the spirits, it's a lot more comfortable because, I would say sometimes what you get through the box can be very uncomfortable. We had in our investigation that we did where
sometimes you get into an argument with a ghost
and
not know that you're in an argument with that ghost about who has ownership over a name, and then sometimes that ghost can make you feel fucking sick right after that.
And then sometimes you're having one because we will often have more than one spirit box session, Estes method session happening at the same time. So we'll send 2 people under,
which is so cool.
Which is a lot of fun because we've had the last time we did it, which we will go into that in a different episode, but we'll talk about it. But Sarah was getting a child spirit that just wanted to play word games, and Chris is sitting next to me talking about shootings and murder and poor Alyssa and I are like, I don't know, I don't feel good already, and I don't know what's happening.
The vibe in that room was hilarious.
For
You've
me,
got
literally half the room.
Having a party, I'm having a great time, and I take my headphones off, and Mackenzie and Alyssa are like, "We're having a terrible day.
We're having a really bad time."
And Chris is like, "I'm sad," and I was like. I had like a 5-year-old being like,
"Apple pizza.
You want to play games?
Apple pizza.
You want to go play upstairs? Apple pizza."
And we didn't even.
But anyway, I think
go back to
I think the spirit boxes provide, or that use of a spirit box, that use of a tool, makes it more comfortable for everybody. Is what I was gonna end with.
So, do we want to try to do an Estes method?
We can.
We can. Do you want to talk about the third thing that you want to do before we do these? Because it might be better to.
Or do you want that to be a surprise for the end?
Kind of want it to be a surprise because
we can do a short Estes method.
Yeah, I think we just do a little short Estes method.
So, because we don't have, I'm gonna take video. You'll see this video. We're gonna take some video. It'll be on Instagram and TikTok.
At this pod is for the number Weirdos.
Yeah, the number 4 Weirdos. So go there to check these sessions out, just so you guys can see what we're talking about. But just so everybody knows, as we're getting started, Sarah is putting on headphones.
I have some noise canceling headphones here. Normally, the way that we like to do this is we put in like earbuds and then we put
headphones on,
noise canceling headphones over top of that. I actually can't wear earbuds anymore because I have
tiny baby ears.
I have bad ears. I can only wear over the ear headphones or like bone conduction headphones. So anyway, I have. Doing it with bone conduction.
That would be interesting.
That would be pretty cool. I don't think they have corded bone conduction headphones.
They don't. It's all
so
Bluetooth.
You have to get. So one thing that we also could do is you could get the Bluetooth dongle for this guy, and then you could wear whatever.
That would be interesting.
Which would work better because these are even more noise canceling when they're Bluetooth headphones. As plug-in headphones, they're still noise canceling, but they're better when they're.
And then we don't have a blindfold, but her eyes will be closed. But while Sarah's getting prepped, Chris and I will ask, or somebody will ask questions, and we'll see what we get, if anything.
Yeah.
From Sarah.
I'm also going to take my glasses off, so that way I can either cover my eyeballs or like push on my headphones.
We'll see what we get.
I, just for reference, can barely hear myself. I have this turned up as loud as it can go. it's really loud.
I think I can hear it from here.
Okay, do I need to?
Go.
You're
go
fine.
down. You're fine. We can hear the brrr, but it's fine.
I'm gonna try and make sure I talk in my microphone, but I am gonna have my eyes closed, so I'm
Okay.
gonna make sure that
Just
I
don't move.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get real comfortable and then not move.
Okay. So I'm gonna just start kind of talking, and then let's see if we can ask a stupid question, see if they hear anything. Hey, Nessie, do you know anything about Nessie? Nope. Okay, they can't hear us. The weather on Mars is
What
dry
is your
today.
time cycle? That's our favorite one to use.
Okay, so hi. Is there anybody here with us? If there is, can you say anything?
Chicken.
Chicken. Are you a chicken? Am I a chicken? There are chickens outside. Sarah's got 4 chickens outside.
3.
3 chickens?
3.
3
One
chickens.
died last summer.
Oh,
We
man.
are here.
Okay.
Who's we?
People.
People.
Oh, that's
Okay.
so helpful. Do you have a name, people?
It's really, this is me talking. It's really, really faint. Like it's not loud or clear.
What kind of people?
The train, maybe? The train or chain?
Did you come here on a train?
We did.
Oh,
You
came on
did?
a train?
Okay, very cool. Do you know when you came on a train? Do you have a number of the year, you think?
City.
City. Okay. Numbers
Or-
are really hard. Did you come into the city of Santa Fe? There are train tracks that come through here.
What brought you here? Was it work? Was it
But that was it. It was just a little but and then nothing else.
Oh, but what?
I'm the foreman.
Okay.
Oh.
Very
Were
cool.
you doing construction? What did you build?
Mr. Foreman, do you have a name?
What are you doing?
We're
It was like a
recording.
little voice.
We're recording a podcast. We're talking to people for people to listen to us.
It's almost like the radio. It's almost like the radio or maybe like the telegraph. I don't know when you're from. And so we're trying to talk to you. What's your name?
The foreman.
The Foreman. Okay. Mr. Foreman, do you have a name you would like to go by other than the Foreman?
We're working.
You're working? Okay. I'm so sorry for bothering you. Thank you so much for
Thanks
talking to us. We'll probably try chatting another time. This was lovely. Thank you so much. Do you want to go get her or do you want me to get her?
Just for everybody in the video, because Sarah can't hear us at all, Christopher is pulling.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry to jump scare anybody that uses headphones, but coming out from that's why
Sorry.
again, when we say we're under, that's why you're very deprived of everything else, so it's very consuming, and so being pulled out from it can be very disconcerting.
Yeah, sorry for yelling. Because I had my mouth like sitting on my microphone so I wouldn't lose where my mic was because I move around a little bit. And so sorry for screaming in your ears.
That was really interesting. So
got-
we talked to a foreman of
Very clearly did not want to be any name but the foreman.
yeah.
Okay, I know I said that twice, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is
Apparently came in on a train.
yeah. We didn't get
Oh.
super a lot out of him, but
Yeah.
like
I mean, that was a quick little 5-minute session.
ch-
So
quick little session.
Yeah. And so for what that sounded like on my end, it's mostly just the noise. And then you'll hear, like what Chris was saying, if it sounds like it's all over a couple of those blips, that's going to be more something that I'm going to try and actually decipher what it's saying. There'll be things where it's like, no, and you're like, that was probably a DJ voice.
Especially scanning backwards.
Anyway, but like sometimes you'll get just weird little blips of sound, and those I don't, unless I can tell what it's saying immediately, I'm not trying to decipher those.
Yeah.
But when it's the same voice, like Mackenzie said, where it's like, oh, I'm hearing the same kind of sound
Yeah.
in the same voice over and over and over again, that's significant. Or if it's like, oh, the foreman, which is 3 syllables happening over probably 3 or 4 sweeps, that's something that I'm going to try and really pull out. And there was like when I think I said train, and
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if it was train or chain.
But the follow up to it was made it clear which one it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So
I
You know,
didn't hear.
we clarified.
I don't remember.
We clarified, and they definitely came to the city on a train.
Oh, great.
And so we tried to figure out where that was, but no clear answer. But
Great.
that was okay.
Great.
The foreman.
The foreman. Who is that?
I don't
No
know.
idea.
Why are they in my house?
I don't know. He sent chill.
Okay.
He just sent like down to business. He was like,
Oh, and somebody asked about your chickens.
oh yeah,
That I did remember the first word that I said, be chickens, and then I went, if I'm gonna channel like the spirits of I do have a dead chicken, like I do have a chicken that
Yeah.
died. That would be horrible.
that'd be so silly.
Rest in peace, Nigel. Nigel died.
Oh,
Rest in
poor
peace,
Nigel.
named after the pelican from Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Well, that was good.
That was good.
That's
Cool
good,
little
the Lexus
session.
method.
Okay. Now I have never seen this done before.
Cool.
So what I want to do, the boards that I brought are gonna be important for this.
Okay.
So I need one and you need one.
Oh.
The two of us over here on the couch.
Great.
Okay. So,
This is the one where we talked about putting me in the closet, maybe.
I don't think we'll need to. With how successful that Estes method was, I don't think we'll need to put you in the closet.
Okay. Okay.
All right. What are we doing?
Getting shit set up. Are you gonna tell me what we're doing first, or do I not even get to know what we're doing?
You will get to know what we're doing.
Okay.
I'm going to lay it out for you. What I am going to do is I am going to write down a word on my board, and I'm going to think about it really, really hard and try to send it to you.
Oh my god. We're doing some like psychic experiment remote viewing stuff.
Yeah, just a little bit. We're
Oh,
we're
yeah.
dipping into a couple other things. We're using the spirit box as a tool,
I love this.
so we can, depending on how this goes, maybe it is spirit look over my shoulder and go tell Sarah what's on my board.
Right.
But I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna think about the word that I write down really, really hard, and I'm
Really,
gonna
really hard.
make like pictures in my brain of like what it is and this, that, the other.
Amazing.
And so your goal is to either ask questions, do whatever to try to figure out through Sarah and the ghost box
What the word is?
what the word is.
Ah.
So
okay.
I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting.
This will be fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What if there's no questions that need to be asked? It just comes out.
It would be
That'd be really cool.
I'll throw the pen at you. I'll be like
It
over.
happened.
And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to record it. So I'm gonna write down the word, start recording. Okay.
Are we gonna video this one?
Yeah.
Great.
I'm gonna record it.
Okay, you're gonna write it down and then you're
Yeah, I'm going to write it down,
amazing. Oh,
get it on the camera, and then
Okay.
record this.
Am I good to put my headphones on?
Yeah, you're good.
Because I can't hear
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, we
Oh,
we
we tested.
it.
Did you ask the question?
Well, we asked a different question, and then I couldn't help myself, and I asked the question.
Great.
Yeah, no, we asked a couple things.
Okay, good.
You'll get to hear it.
Okay, I am gone. Bye
Okay.
bye.
So I'm gonna write down the word, and then I'm going to start recording.
We're about to play ghost charades.
Yeah, we're doing telephone is the way that I described
Telephone. You let me know when you're ready for
it.
me to
Okay,
start.
so I've started recording. I have the word on the screen. You are good to start whenever
After
you'd
school. Words.
like. Okay.
Yeah, we're asking words. Is it a noun, a person, place, or thing?
Home.
Home. Is it a place in a home?
You speak through me.
Yes, that's what Sarah's doing. Is speaking.
I didn't like that at all.
Are you here for a job, or are you? Is the word a job?
I'm waiting.
I just need you to tell me what this word is. Is it?
Whoever's here can peek over my shoulder and read the word on this little notepad I have here. And then go tell Sarah.
Me.
Yeah. Could you check that word with Chris, and then go tell Sarah so I can find out what it is?
Car.
Is it a type of car or another automobile or vehicle?
We've made contact.
Watch, we've got the fucking ultra
It's
terrestrial.
getting weird and I don't like it. I keep hitting my face on my microphone and scaring myself.
Is it a train? Is the foreman back?
Blue.
Blue. That is one of the favorite colors of our gang.
It is a favorite
That's a
color.
good. It's a good possibility. Is it another color? Is it something to do with the color blue? Is it like this room? I know this room is painted blue. There's another room in the house painted blue. Are you still with us?
Men.
Men. Is it group of men?
You did it.
Group of men. I did it. Tell me again what it is. What did I say that was right?
Airplane.
I don't know that that's correct.
No, wait. Space.
Is it astronaut?
Maybe I need to pick a different word.
Did you pick a hard one?
I don't think this is
Space
hard.
men.
Hey, we're not talking about spacemen.
Are you a spaceman?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
What about, is it an alien?
Old white spacemen.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, this is hilarious.
This is really funny. I think dear
The yellow spaceman.
dear communicator, I think you are
Not it.
I think you're not looking at the right word.
Are you looking at it because we have aliens in the room, like alien stuff in the room?
Yup.
Okay,
Oh.
great. So I need you to
Go look at the
Hi,
word on the
look-
blue board.
look at the word right here in my hand.
You can turn it around. I'm gonna look away.
Okay, I will turn it around. I'm facing it directly at Sarah.
Machine.
No.
Blue.
Okay.
Big.
Blue, yes.
So-
Machine, no.
Blue board. The blue board right here that I'm holding. What's this word?
Third.
Third what?
Are you using your third eye? Sarah's kind of using hers.
New.
Oh, is this too new of a concept for you? Maybe it's
Room.
We are in a blue room, and the paint is pretty new.
okay. We may pull out. I think we pull her and try again.
Okay, let me go get her.
I didn't scream that time.
I did specifically move your mic away from your face.
Okay, thank you.
That was weird and not successful.
Hilarious
Okay,
though.
I got scared, real scared twice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, some of the things
did. I
some of the
reacted
things you
really
said were
bigly.
real scary.
Imagine hearing them
My favorite is
in Estes method voice.
Yeah.
my favorite thing is we were really trying to get this word out. Like Chris is trying, and it's spaceman, group of men, spacemen, old white spaceman.
Yeah, old white spaceman was fun.
Yellow spaceman.
The funniest part about that,
What was the word? Can I ask?
It was seahorse.
we never got there.
We didn't get there. We got I could kind of conflate men. The men give birth. I was thinking specifically
So seeing that and knowing that I said both yellow and blue,
yeah.
that makes me think like, oh, maybe they were trying to send me a picture of like a seahorse in the water.
Yeah.
Because to me,
Seahorses are yellow.
Yeah. Cuz I was definitely sitting here thinking about like a picture of a seahorse. I was like,
That's funny that
seahorse.
I need you to know this is crazy. I didn't see a seahorse.
Yeah,
Like I didn't
no.
have like an image pop in my head. But I wasn't just seeing the like blackness behind my eyes
Okay.
or the like purpley green that you sometimes see. Like there was something trying to happen in my non-vision.
Interesting.
And I was like, what is it? I don't care if you tell me what it is. Make the shape in
Make
my
a
brain.
shape. Yeah.
And it didn't happen. And I was trying really hard to focus on both the words and like sending my brain out to Chris's brain of like, gimme.
Yeah.
Which didn't work.
Did not work. Do we want to try again and do something simpler?
Then seahorse,
Yeah.
we can. They
that-
got really scary for a second.
Okay.
I think maybe we don't.
Okay,
'Cause
that's
that was-
fair.
I think this is an experiment we can try again another time.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
would be interested to try it more times.
I think
It does not have to be
no,
today.
I think it's a very good experiment, and I think the only reason why I'm not like gung ho about doing it again today
Uh-huh.
is the added element of the podcast.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're trying to record it. I kept hitting my teeth on my microphone when I got scared. Which is a very uncomfortable sensation. I'm sorry that it didn't work, but it feels like it was
It was
if
trying.
we did it longer, I
I-
feel like it would have.
Yeah.
But
But
if we didn't have the time constraint of we can't just let people listen to me saying random words
Yeah.
while
an
you guys
hour.
are trying to
Yeah.
have a conversation for the duration of a podcast episode,
Right.
we probably could have got something.
So I
I
think
think we were getting there. They were trying.
they were definitely trying, and maybe the concept of a seahorse is
Maybe it's too much.
too much.
Maybe that's why they're saying space. It's the ocean.
Yeah.
But
And like
spacemen,
a bunch of men, like
A
all
bunch
the
of
little
men.
babies.
all the little men. Yeah, maybe they like
And like
abstractly, maybe we could force that to be seahorse.
you know, there are plenty of ways that like I was like abstractly like connecting these dots in my head. I was like, you're dancing around the concept of a seahorse, like an airplane. It carries a bunch of people, carries a bunch like a seahorse.
Did I say
daddy,
airplane?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was
Um,
car.
car. and
Sometimes
I was
You don't remember.
you don't remember what you say. When
There's
you're in the
often,
Estes.
unless I think a lot of times, if it's
Unless it's like really scary or really like funny, like
Yeah.
Old White
Yeah.
Spacemen, you're not gonna remember it.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of the kind of general things you say in an Estes method, regardless of the kind of session that you're doing, you forget a lot. And like, you know, we talk about Hellier a lot. The fact that the tin can, I think it stuck out because he saw it in his brain. Like
Yeah.
he
Right,
saw
and
an
that was the
image,
thing
and it
that was
scared him.
Interesting about this was I haven't ever had anything like that happen in the Estes methods that
Uh-huh.
I've done, and so I think adding that like, oh no, we're trying to find a specific thing.
yeah,
We're not just asking like what's your name and hoping for any answer that is a name. It's like no, we're trying to get that word that's on that
Yeah.
board over there
yeah,
into my head through these spirits, through my ears to Mackenzie.
yeah,
And so because of that like added focus element, I was like there was something was trying to make a picture. Like there was something trying to happen because it was like shapes were like amorphosing in front of like my eyeballs
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I was like that noted it being like that's different than just what it looked like last time when I
yeah.
had
What a
sitting there
normal
with-
Estes method
right
looks
sitting
like
there
for
with
you.
my eyes closed and watching the sparklies in my own eyelids.
Uh-huh.
It was different than that. And so it's like maybe we have tapped into something interesting here.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's also interesting. My brain, as soon as you were talking about, we are here and I'm channeling through you, or my voice is, you know, that thing that you said that scared you.
Yeah, it was
Um,
rough for he.
My brain went son of a bitch, is Indrid Cold here? Did we summon the space aliens?
Right.
You know,
like I was like,
I was-
I was like,
Space, and
I was
You know,
like,
I was-
son
I
of a.
almost-
I was like,
almost
God
went-
damn it.
I almost went, we did not ask for you, ultra-terrestrials.
Yeah, it's
Please
like-
go home.
I was like,
Go
we're looking for a word, not to be
We just-
contacted.
I don't care if you want to contact us. Just tell us what it says over there.
E.T. go home.
E.T.
I
So
don't
there was
want.
like- there was
I'm
like-
not interested right now.
That was
Get
a
out of
really
here.
interesting from an evidence. We've never had something like that come through.
That
never
was scary.
That
I've
was
never
odd.
had
it
anything
felt scary in my body.
Interesting.
And not in a like, oh, those words
Are
made me
creepy.
feel icky. It was like a, oh no, I need to like shake the energy.
You know,
because
you definitely like
started like
I was like,
But I think that's why it's important that there's. I think with Estes, I think it's really important that there's some kind of video element involved with it because you don't
Right.
remember everything that you say, and even us as people asking questions, you can't always keep track of what you're responding to
yeah.
in the moment where you're also like immediately trying to be like, okay, we're moving the conversation forward. So I think I'm glad we recorded these. I think it's really important when you're looking at any kind of evidence that's coming, EVP evidence especially,
Yeah.
seeing the video or some kind of way of seeing what was happening around the same time that was happening is really important.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm thankful in some ways for the way that paranormal TV has shaped using some of these tools, whether that's through Spirits of the Stanley or Ghost Hunters or other, more traditional cable network shows.
Right.
Kindred spirits.
Kindred Spirits.
I love them.
The Hellier,
Right.
all of our favorite things.
Uh-huh.
But that was super interesting. I'm really glad that you did this with us.
Absolutely. I was trying to think really hard. I was like, what is something that I have not seen before that we can
Yeah.
try?
it was cool. I would be interested to do it where maybe Mackenzie writes the word down.
Uh-huh.
You're under the spirit box, and I'm trying to receive. So like
Yeah.
exact flip flop of what we have right now.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be interesting.
I think
I think
it
it'd
would
be interesting to try with each of us.
Yeah, all three ways.
because we all
Yeah.
interpret so differently.
Right.
Even under the Estes method, we hear things differently. We interpret
Which is
differently.
just the fact of having different ears.
We're
Yeah.
all different antennas.
Aw.
We're all on a different frequency.
To quote Gregory Newkirk, be a good ghost machine.
Be
A
a good
good
ghost
ghost
machine.
And we're all different ghost machines.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to wrap up with?
I don't think so. I think that experiment was kind of what I had planned for the wrap up.
For the
Kind
culmination.
of like a culmination, a new use of like all of these different kinds of concepts that we kind of touched on throughout like the history of the spirit box. Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say when you
Oh.
were talking about thing. It will be really interesting when I'm editing this to listen.
Oh
hear
yeah.
if we captured any EVPs
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
on this,
Yeah.
because that would be really neat.
You know,
Well-
and especially like even just through the remainder of us doing the podcast, we could catch an EVP at any time.
At any time. We
Yeah.
have not yet thus far. There has
No.
not been anything weird, which makes sense for the first episode, because it wasn't recording through our actual microphones. So
So sorry about the audio quality in episode 1. We fixed it. Thank you, Chris. I learned a ton from this content. The history of EVPs and spirit box like development is so interesting. I think we forget about all of the history it takes to get to a device like this because we're so used to the use as it is now,
Right.
And as we see it portrayed now and how we use it, and then to get to do an experiment in a kind of a circumstance that we've used before, but never something we've really tried.
Yeah.
So fun, so interesting, especially to be in a safe space where we know it's, we're not in a prison, we're not in a
Yeah, we're not anywhere
hospital,
scary.
we're not anywhere where
Yeah,
like
we're nowhere scary.
we're not at the ranch. We're anticipating activity. We're in a place that if we get something cool, if we don't, it's okay too.
Yeah.
So it was a really fun. This was amazing. I really enjoyed this.
Good. I'm glad.
you never think about like where, like you said, like where these devices come from
Uh-huh.
that are like designed specifically for ghost hunting. Because a lot of the stuff that we use when we are ghost hunting are things that have been repurposed for that
Yeah,
use.
Right.
absolutely.
An infrared camera is a thermal cam, like the thermal cam, the FLIR
Yeah.
is used for
Survey.
being an infrared thermal camera. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's
It's
for.
used to find water in your walls.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like it's a survey camera.
Right. And then like EMF detectors are used to detect regular ass electromagnetic fields that exist around the planet. But we've kind of ported them over into this because it's like, oh, this can be used to find ghosts, maybe.
Yeah.
But the idea that this is kind of something that was developed specifically for this purpose is really interesting. But you don't ever think about like
where these things come
who
from.
started it?
Yeah.
Who did this first? And I never would have thought of like as early as the 1940s, this being like EVPs specifically being something that people were interested in, which makes sense for the era. But it's one of those things that I never would have thought about.
You know, and there's a lot of history that I'm going to get into in later episodes.
That's cool.
That cover times before the 1940s. Sneak preview, I found things from prehistory, or not prehistory, but from 600 BCE, specifically like a story from the Bible. And so, yeah.
I really did enjoy this, though. That was fun. I liked getting to do some mini Estes methods.
Yeah, very fun.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for doing this with me. I think that's all we need to talk about, at least for today, about ghost boxes and spirit boxes. I hope you learned something. I can't wait to see what we learn about next time. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is for weirdos.
Are you a weirdo?
Thursdays are for the phenomena.